All right, if you're a coach and you want to start signing 10 to 20 clients a month without relying solely on organic content, this Facebook ad strategy is your shortcut. It took Ryan from 2K a month to 60K a month in under a year. Last month, he hit his first 80K month, right on track for that $1 million run rate. And it took me from $7,000 a month to $87,000 a month in 8 months. And now I use this same strategy to do 200K a month plus. And in this video, I'm going to share with you guys exactly how to do this for your business step by step. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to launch a simple ad that brings you new leads every single day, even if you've never ran ads before. So grab a notebook and let's dive in. All right, so I'm going to start on my iPad over here. The first thing we have to get clear on is, where are we sending people to? What are we promoting in the ads themselves? And this is going to be good old classic lead magnet, right? And what I like to do for most coaching offers to start with is a simple free training, okay? A free training. This is the tried and true method, the video sales letter, VSL, whatever you want to call it. But essentially, we're going to drive traffic from Facebook to watch this training to learn something about their problem, essentially to learn a solution of the problem they're experiencing, right? So this free training could be, if you're like a business coach, how to sign, 5 to 10 plus clients with blank, right? What is the thing with Instagram ads, with YouTube, with Instagram organic, without paying ads, without DMs, right? That type of approach. Same thing could apply for fitness, right? So how to lose 10 to 20 pounds in, 6 months with blank or without blank. Very, very simple. But all we're trying to do is we're trying to drive traffic to a video resource that does two things. One, it gives value, okay? Gives value. Two, it has a pitch, right? There's an offer attached to it. So they can, one, build a relationship. They can build trust with you, right? And then two, they know you have an offer and you can help. So those are the two things that we have in here to make this thing successful, right? There's different ways we can run ads to it. I'm going to cover that in a second, but I just want to start off by starting this strategy that we're going to go over here is going to be using this strategy. There are other strategies like boosting posts, even running ads to like a more direct offer. Hey, here's how I can help. I'm going to be breaking down this funnel here because again, this is my favorite funnel. The reason it's my favorite funnel is that it does this part first. It gives value. It builds the know, like, and trust. And I have ran a lot of the direct offer ads. Hey, if you want this, book here, or if you want this, DM me this word. And what I've found is that strategy, it works, but you have to create a lot more ads on a regular basis because the creatives fatigue a lot faster. With this one, where we're providing value, we're sending up someone to a free resource that we know can change their life, you can run ads a lot longer to this funnel. So this is the lead magnet that we're going to be promoting in this strategy. Number two, the next thing we have to understand before we even get into Ads Manager and understand how to set these things up is we have to know what are our KPIs, okay? We have to know how much we're able to spend to acquire a customer. We have to know how much we're able to spend to book a call. We have to know how much we're able to spend to get a lead. And if we don't know this is one of the biggest reasons most people fail is that they don't have clear guidelines on when to shut things off, when to turn them up. They have no idea. And when you're doing it this way, you kind of just taking shots in the dark. All right. So what we want to do here is we need to understand how much should it cost to acquire a client. Generally, my rule of thumb is 20 to 25% of your program cost, right? So of your cost is to get a client, okay? So if you had, let's say a $10,000 program, right? You can spend 2 to 2.5K to get a client. And that gives you pretty good margin, right? That gives you 80 to 75% margin for fulfillment, sales, all the other things, right? This can be really profitable. So just knowing this right here, if it costs you 20 to 25% to get a client, that's a 4 to 5x ROAS. And that's a really healthy ROAS for most people when they're starting ads. If you said, hey, if I give you $1, will you give me 4 or 5 back? You'd be like, heck yeah, I will. And we do that by knowing this, okay? This would be like, if you were, again, doing more business coaching, consulting, if you were doing more health and fitness coaching, if you, let's just say on a very low end, you had a 2K program, you could essentially pay $500 to get a client, right? 500 CAC. All right. And this is pretty typical. Like this is what I would imagine it being for a business coach. If you have a 10K offer, and then if you have a 2K, 3K offer, we're looking at like $500 to $750. All right. So that's how much it costs to get a client. Now, cost per call, these are generally rules of thumb for this to help you hit these numbers, but cost per call, if you're doing, let's do B2C and then B2B. B2C is going to be like health and fitness coaching, could be mindset coaching, could be like personal development stuff. It could be pain related, anything that's like, to mass consumption, a bigger total addressable market. What we're looking here is going to be between $100 and $200 cost per call. Now, I have some fitness coaching clients that have like, $25 to $50 cost per call. But I'd say typically at scale, as you keep running these ads, you're looking in this range, costing $100 to $200 a call. Now, B2B, we're looking at pretty much doubling that at least, right? So we're looking at like $200 to upwards of $500 for a cost per call. Okay. So for us, our core offer is closer to the 10K price point. So for us, like our cost per call is around, $500 that we're able to take, right? So if we get a cost per call at $500, let's just say that the show rate or the reschedule rate, all of that stuff, let's just say that on the low end, 50% of people show, right? So low end, $500 cost per call, say 50% show, gonna kind of break down the numbers. That's $1,000 for a qualified call, right? Qualified call. That's what we're kind of shooting for here. So $1,000 for qualified call. Right now, our close rate is around 40%, right? So that's going to be around that 2 to 2.5K to get a $10,000 client, right? So this is in our wheelhouse. Now, you couldn't pay $500 for a call if you had a 2K offer, because again, show rate is going to be, let's say 50% on the low end, the $1,000 cost per call. If you're closing at 50%, it's a $2,000 acquisition on a $2,000 offer. You're done. We're going to work with that client for free. And if that client doesn't have a good experience, they ask for their money back, you're out money. Right? So you've got to understand this stuff first. And this is all just basic math modeling. And I can't tell you how many people don't do this when they start running ads and they just burn money. Okay. So make sure that you know these KPIs like the back of your hand. And if you guys don't know these and need help with these, honestly, you can probably talk to ChatGPT. The biggest thing to know here out of all of this is this number above, right? I'm going to circle it because it's so important. But this 20 to 25% of your program cost, that number matters more than your cost per call. Okay, cost per call is kind of an early indicator of what your cost per acquisition will be. But you could have a heavy cost per call, but if you close all those deals consistently, that's okay. Okay, but this has to be here. We need a 4 to 5 times ROAS on a call funnel to be profitable. All right. You could do a 2 to 3X, but you better make some sales in the back end, because if not, you're going to be chasing new clients every single month. Okay. So I want to hit on these first because it's the most important. And then cost per lead, to coming back to this for this typical, free training funnel. So we'll come back down here, cost per lead for a B2C. If this is a free training and you're positioning it as a free training, I mean, your lead costs are going to be between $5 and maybe $15, right? So pretty low. B to B, you're looking at anywhere from $15 to honestly even $40 cost per lead. Okay. And when we're looking for conversion rate, like how I came up with these numbers is that we're looking at anywhere from 5 to 20% of the leads that come through this to book a call. All right. So if it's a free training funnel and you're positioning it as, hey, it's free, you're probably going to be closer to like this 5%, right? If you're positioning this in your ad about like, hey, I put together a free training. If you want to learn how the method works and you want my help implementing it, and we say that in the ad, we're going to look at a higher percentage of leads that book, because we're framing the free training as a way for someone to learn what it looks like to work with you. So there's some small positioning that you can use in the ads and in the video itself, it can really bump this up, but still you can be extremely profitable off of like a 5% lead to call ratio. So for us, we typically are closer to like 10% on the front end. And then some people will book with us like 3, 6, 12 months out, right? So that's what we're looking at for KPIs there. All right. So from here, I want to jump into my computer and kind of walk you guys through how I set all this stuff up using Ads Manager, because that's where things have changed a lot. Okay. Ads are always changing, and we've had some massive changes that have happened. Right now, I'm filming this video in 2025. This video should be good for much longer than that, but there's been some huge changes in the ad accounts that I have to show you, because if you're still running the ads the traditional way, you're going to be losing a lot of money. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the ad account. Let me show you. All right, so I'm in my ad account here, and I'm going to show you how to set this thing up from start to finish. We're going to go ahead and create a new objective. So we're going to go to leads, since we want people to watch our free training. And automatically, when I click this, there used to be a little pop-up that says, do you want a tailored campaign or do you want a manual campaign? That is gone. Now you're going to get there and you're going to see something like this, and it looks totally different. Okay. There's a campaign score with Advantage Plus leads objective on. You can't turn it off. It's just kind of a constant score of how well it thinks your campaign's optimized. And then when you come down here, it's going to set your budget. You can switch between campaign budget and ad set budget here. But the strategy I'm gonna walk you guys through right now, I'm actually using campaign budget and it is crushing it. Okay. I used to try to control all my ads at the ad set level and be like $100 here, $100 here. And that is exhausting. Okay. I'm telling you right now, that is exhausting. And there's a simpler way. if you use Facebook's pixel and like you send data properly back to Facebook. So I'm going to walk you guys through how to do that in this video, because this has been a game changer and it simplified my entire media buying ad strategy to where all I have to focus on now is creating better ads. And I'm going to show you how to do that. We can do it with broad-based targeting if you send the right information back to Facebook. Okay, so we're going to start this thing off. I'm just going to name this optimize for leads, and we're going to do free training. And then I'm going to name this the date. So this is April 2025. All right. The objective is leads. The daily budget. Ideally, what you want is, do you want to have like your daily budget be how much it costs you to get a call, right? So like that's just going to be an ideal rule of thumb. If your cost per call is $100 and you want to call a day, great. We need to do, $100. Even if you're B2B, and I said that's like your call cost is going to be between $200 and $500, I probably would still start a campaign around $100 and then scale it from there. Okay. Same thing. I think if you're B2C, I would still start around $100 a day with this type of objective. If you want to start it at $50 a day, you could do it as well, but you're just going to get a lot faster data at closer to $100 a day. Okay. Now, if you can't do that, still watch through this video, because the strategy I'm going to share with you is what we're going to build up to, even if you only have $30 and $50 a day to spend. Okay. So we're going to set it up like this. Daily budget's going to be $100. Now we're going to jump into the ad set level. The ad set level is where we pick our audience. And right off the bat, there's some stuff that's a little different here. So let's just quickly go over it. You don't want to have website and calls if you're an online coach. You just want leads from the website. So make sure to click just website. And then what we're going to do down here is we want to maximize number of conversions. You'll pick your pixel, and I'm about to talk about the pixel in a second because this is where most people go wrong. And then you're going to select the conversion event. Okay. Now, typically when you select the conversion event, you're going to have lead and schedule, and you got to set this up on your first party on like use ClickFunnels or Go High Level. We use Go High Level. There are some awesome automations in Go High Level. I'm going to share them with you, but that's what we would set this thing up here for. I would encourage you to test both. Typically what Facebook likes is it likes to have 50 conversions a week for it to optimize for that event. So there are some campaigns that will optimize for schedule, but what I found is that they're not very consistent, and my cost per lead goes up dramatically because I don't have enough pixel data and I'm not optimizing to get an opt-in. I'm optimizing for a book call. So I encourage you to test it, but for most people, I actually have them start off with lead, and I'll tell you why with this strategy I'm about to share with you. Okay. So I'm going to pick lead, and here's the thing. All right. This is really cool. When we come down here to audience settings, we used to be able to do original audiences, and you can still actually do that. So if you just click limit further audience or reach of audience, you can switch back to like the original audiences, which were how we used to run ads. But what I found is there's a better way to do this. Okay. I'm finding way better results from broad and even Advantage Plus targeting, which used to be a big no-no. I said, hey, the lead quality sucks. The lead quality sucked because I didn't set up my pixels the right way. Okay. I'm about to unlock something crazy for you guys. If you guys listen to this and watch this, you're going to like, okay, if you've been running ads. Okay. So just trust me here. Okay. We're going to turn this off. Okay. I don't want to manually control the audience. I want to trust Facebook with the right data. So I'm going to leave this audience as good to go. Okay. Now, this is Advantage Plus. It used to look a little different, but this is Advantage Plus targeting. So what you're going to notice here is you've got controls, and then you have suggested audiences. Okay. So if I go to suggested audiences, this is just suggestions for Facebook. This is controls or hard limits. So a lot of times I've noticed people will set these ads up and they'll be like, all right, I'm going to select my age to be, 30 to say 40. All right. 30 to 40. And this is suggested, right? But you left the minimum age to 18. Guess what? You're still going to get 18-year-olds who are seeing your ads. So these are hard boundaries. When you set this up, change your minimum age. The highest you can go, which is kind of wild to me, is 25. But do that. It'll automatically improve the quality of leads that come through. All right. So just change that immediately. And again, if you only target to the United States, put that here. If you do other targeting, you can put them in here. But again, these controls are hard controls. Language, I'm going to put to English all. I don't want any non-English speakers in the United States who are under 25 seeing my ads. Cool. So make sure that's set up so you don't get atrocious leads. And then in the suggested audience section here, we're going to reach people who are likely to improve. What we used to do is we used to say, just try to control your targeting, all that stuff. Man, if you guys looked at my ads, I have broad only. So like I will put in like my age demographic, and I'll do the control setting up here, and I'll be like, all right, I want this to go to, yeah, like I help coaches who want to scale their business. Typically, you know, our average consumer, like sometimes we have young people that are 25, but it's like late 20s and into their early 30s. Like 30s are typically the age where people are like trying to grow their business. And they also have some money to invest in ads, right? So knowing that, that's who I would target. And this is a completely huge, broad audience of 44 to 52 million. I would try this, okay? Other things that you can try, like, I mean, honestly, like when I launch ads, this is typically what I do. And it's because of pixel data. So I'm gonna get to that in a second, but I'll just launch broad. Now, if I wanted to, you know, suggest audiences, so this is kind of like a mix of like, this is like totally broad with Advantage Plus. Of an age range. But what I'll often do in here is I'll often just put like a lookalike audience or stack a couple lookalike audiences in here. So I've got a couple. So I just pulled this one last month. So this is a lookalike of all my qualified calls in the month of March. So when I say month of March, I pulled it in March, but that's of all the qualified calls my business has ever had, which is like thousands of calls. So that's a pretty good audience size. It's going to say it's 1 to 1.2 million, but because this is suggested, essentially it's going to look for people like this, and then it's just going to do whatever it wants to try to find the best quality people. So what I'll often do, what I've been doing now, is I will throw in a couple lookalike audiences here. All right. So like this audience here is all qualified calls I've ever had, last scheduled book calls in the last 180 days. And then this was taken from Stripe. I just downloaded the CSV file and I said, only of people who've paid me money. I think it was top clients. So probably anybody over like $5,000 that's paid me. I put them into this as well to find a lookalike. So this is like a stacked lookalike audience. And this is going to be like looking for people like this originally. And then once it's done that, it'll go beyond. So I would personally test a lookalike like stack like this, or just go completely broad. And I'll tell you why when I get to this pixel setting. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into that, because this is what's going to blow your mind. Okay. It's going to blow your mind, I'm telling you. Now, placements, I would just leave them as normal. Advantage, just let it do its thing. Okay. We need to like move away from, I'm controlling everything that Facebook does to be like, I trust Facebook with all the information it has. It has 70,000 data points on people. Well, I'm not smarter than that, all right? Now, if I think I'm smarter than that, I'm just lying to myself, right? Like, it's a very smart machine, but it's a machine. It goes based off the inputs you give it. Now, this is the biggest problem. When I used to run ads from Facebook, I never did this. I never gave it good data. I just said, hey, I want you to find people who will fill this form out on my website, which was just name, phone number, email. Well, guess what? That's pretty easy to do. People will just put their name, phone number, email in, even if they don't want your thing. Or they could be like an 18-year-old. But you can actually control what data goes back. So right now, what I've been doing is I've been optimizing for lead, right? Again, on that front end. But what I've done, let me pull this up because this is going to blow your freaking mind, I'm telling you, is that on my opt-in forms, okay, and you can do the same exact thing for your business, regardless of what it is in the opt-in form. This is a mini course, very similar to the free training. It's just a longer free training. There's like 6 to 8, 7 hours of content, but it still does the same thing. It still positions me as the expert, and it still shows them an offer, right? So those are the two things in the free training. But what I've done here is I used to, again, just say name, phone number, email. If I did broad targeting and say, just find me people who fill this form out, they're going to be crap. But what I did is I started adding questions to this resource, to this opt-in form. Do you charge high ticket? Okay. Again, I help high ticket coaches get more clients with ads. Can you invest at least $30 a day right now to grow your business in ads? That's $1,000 a month. It's a minimum, right? Minimum. So when people fill this form out, if they say yes and yes, I've set it up with a pixel data to push that data back into Facebook to find more people like this. Okay. I used to just work with health and fitness coaches. So in this form, it says, are you a health and fitness coach? And it was like, what type of coach are you? And it was like, health, fitness, business, life, anything that was not health or fitness, it didn't fire. Okay. But now that we're expanding our niche a little bit, mine just says, hey, do you charge high ticket? And then can you invest in ads? It's a simple radio select. But if you use Go High Level or a smart software, I love Go High Level, it'll go back and this pixel will only fire if they fill this out. So I'm training my pixel for qualified people. I financially qualified them here. They have at least $1,000 a month. Do they charge enough to actually benefit my service? So now Facebook's like, oh, I get who your ideal avatar is. I'm going to start finding people like this. And because I set this broad targeting, I was like, hey, I'm not going to limit you just to these million people. I want you to use your data points, your 70,000 data points to find more people who are likely to convert. And this is working. My cost per call is going way down. My cost per lead is going way down, right? Like I mentioned earlier on in the training, the B2B, like so we are Our cost per lead was around like 30, 40 bucks. I launched this and I really tightened this up last week and we're getting leads for way under $20. Like there's some that are like $10, $15. And Facebook's actually finding the right quality people too with them. And it's blowing my mind. Okay. So the move right now, if you take anything from this video, is going broad and then having more qualification stuff in your opt-in form is a really awesome way to train your pixel to find the right people. Okay. Like I said, we're moving away from health and fitness, but this funnel itself still is health and fitness, right? So really cool. Now, let me show you how to do that because you're like, wow, it sounds really cool, but then how do I actually do that? So let's talk about the pixel really quick and let's talk about data and sending it back to Facebook. So real quick, there's two ways we have to send data back to Facebook now. Number one is a pixel, okay? A pixel is like a little cookie on your browser. So I have a specific thank you page that people will go to. So I'm just gonna put in some like, fake information here so you guys can see this. That's not my phone number. So someone's going to get a random text. Let's just put yes and yes to show you what the yes looks like. So if they put, they have a high ticket offer and it's $30 a day, boom. It's going to then take them to a offer page. All right. So this is my offer. We'll make your ads and help you sign 5 to 10 clients a month in as little as 30 days. And then they can apply, right? This page has a pixel on it and I'll show you how to set that up. All you have to do is the event setup tool. Very, very simple way to do it. But this fires. Now, on the contrary, if I put in something random and I said no, but I do have $1,000 to invest, it'll take them to my mini course, which is in school. There is no pixel on this page. This is not going back to Facebook saying, find more people like this. It's still getting a lead, right? I still opted in. I still have their information, but it goes straight to the mini course, right? So that's the pixel. Pixel is set up by having a tiny little bit of code on the page that it goes to. Now, real quick, let me just show you how to do that just so we're on the same page with this. All right, so when you go to the event managers, all you have to do is go to your pixel. So click on the pixel. All right, so now that we're in here, all we're gonna do is go to settings, and then we're gonna scroll down to open event setup tool. And all you gotta do is just throw in your URL to your thank you page. So mattshiver.com/ads, thank you. Yeah, boom. All right. So now that it's here, you'll see I have complete registration, which is my leads event. And all you have to do is track URL. So if it equals, I would put it contains, right? It contains ads, thank you. Then push confirm. I already have this set up. So anytime it hits this page, the pixel is going to fire for the event that you tracked, right? So I love this off with probably lead. I trained mine for complete registration just because I have another funnel that uses lead. And I actually like having my pixels separate. I'm a little bit of a nerd. You don't have to do that. Okay. But anyone who hits this page, the complete registration will fire. If they go to the school group, they won't. All right. Simplest way to set up a pixel, right? Just do it with the event setup tool. It's in the settings. So that's that. Now let me talk about how to push this back with API. This is more important. Okay. This is more important. And this is really cool. Why I love Go High Level. So if I come over to a workflow, I can have a workflow fire and push the conversion API back. Okay. So let me open this up. All right, so this is Conversions API. And what we're doing here is we're pushing that data back from first party. We're saying, hey, someone opted into a form, right? And I want to send this back to Facebook so it knows. And what Facebook will do is it'll take that pixel data that it took before, and it'll take this event data that you're pushing back manually, and it will match it up so that it has better data. Now, to set this up, I'm not going to go over that into detail. You need to find whatever software you're using and just look up how to set up Conversions API. But with Go High Level, you can do it very, very easily. All you need is the access token and the pixel ID, which you can find in like the Go High Level help docs. And then the registration, the event that your name is. Again, if you're doing lead, you would do lead. For this funnel, like I said, I have complete registration. And then the last thing you'll want to do on side of here is you'll want to link the Facebook click ID to the last click. All right. And that's pretty simple. All you would do is just do this little tag thing here. And you can scroll down to attribution and you can do latest. And then this would be the latest Facebook click ID, right? Boom. And I would just click that, right? That's just going to take the Facebook click ID so it can match it. All right. So that's there. Now, coming back to this is the coolest part, right? So I have this trigger be, they filled out that ads mini course form and they have a high ticket offer. Okay. So if that's the case, great. They're going to get added to a custom audience that's just my email list. They're going to get added to a 30-day leads list. These are all, you don't have to worry about these. I won't cover this. This is like retargeting videos, but don't worry about it. And then here's the cool part, right? I have this condition. Can you invest in ads? Yes or no, right? And this is important because if this thing fires and the person doesn't have a high ticket offer, I don't really want to retarget them, right? If they have a high ticket offer, I'm open to retargeting them because they may not be able to invest in ads now, but they might have just put that in their form. So what I'll do next is I have a little if-else condition. If they are a high ticket coach and they have money to invest, then I'm going to fire that Conversions API. If they are a high ticket coach and they don't have money to invest, maybe they're a beginner, then I'm going to skip sending this data back to Facebook, okay? I don't want Facebook to get that data, okay? This is what allows me to train that pixel to find people. It allows me to go broad, right? I have the pixel data only firing, and I have conversions API only firing. You can do the same exact thing for schedule. And for this, I'm gonna get in the weeds here, but I typically just do, they booked a call, and then if they filled out on the application that they're making over $1,000 a month minimum, they have clients and they charge over $1,000 a month, then I schedule this as a schedule event. But if they are crappy leads, I don't want to send that data back to Facebook. Cool? Pretty cool. All right. Now, once they're in here as well, I'll use the same thing to fire my workflows, and I'll send text messages if they meet all that criteria, right? So for me here, again, if they're a high ticket coach, I will start to text them, right? They may not have money to invest in ads, but I also have a $5,000 downsell that I'll sell some of these people, but I don't want to train the pixel on finding the downsell people. So that 5K offer that I have, I will still try to sell it via text messages right after, right? So it's like, cool, you've got a high ticket offer. Maybe you haven't launched it yet. You only got a couple clients. You're not ready to invest in ads. Cool, we could probably still help, but I don't want to train the pixel for it. So from here, this is where I've got, they get the link to the school group. And then from there, they're going to get my text message automation sequence. It's going to go out for 3 to 4 days after that. And we're also going to hit them up in the school group to see if they need help and invite to call. Okay. So that's like my full funnel workflow here. You would do the same exact thing. And then I also send emails to people who opted in. We'll send about 2 emails a day for the first 5 days, and then transition to 1 email a day for 14 days. And that's all going to be done in Active Campaign. You could do it all in Go High Level as well. All right. So I know I went through a lot there, but I want to come back to and just say, the key here is sending the right data back to Facebook. And I just showed you kind of my follow-up process. And I do it a lot based off of if they fill out this form and they're qualified, then I'm going to text them. If they fill out this form and they're qualified, I'm going to send this data back to Facebook. I don't want cheap leads. I want good leads. And you can train your Facebook pixel that way and have a way bigger audience. Okay. So let's finish this thing up. I want to come back to the ads account to show you guys what to do next, because again, some of these things have changed in terms of how you actually set the ads up. All right. So coming back in here, we're going to open this bad boy up. We're going to go back to the ad set level where we were at. So anytime we're in the ad set level, I'll always name this the same thing, right? So we just said we're going to optimize this for leads, and then I'm going to do broad, and then I'll just name it for the audience I'm selecting. So we'll say I did broad 28 to 40. Then I would come down here and I would just remove, my audiences if I was going to do that broad audience. And then I would do 28 to 40, right? Super broad, massive audience. I'm going to test it. All right. Then once we go down to the ad level, this is where we're just going to name your ads. Like I typically just do like ad 1, and I might have like multiple ads in here. But inside of here, this is actually looks a little weird. We're going to turn off multi-advertiser. You'll put your funnel page inside of here, and then instant form, turn that off. We just want the form. And then this is weird. I actually do not like that Facebook did this, but they used to be like, put your creative here, put your headline here. It was like super simple. Now when you come in here, it gives you this thing. And I'm like, what in the world? Let me just show you what to do. Skip all of this. This doesn't matter. Okay. Go to media, and you're going to pick the ad that you've already made, or you can upload the ads here. All right. So I'm just going to pick this image here for my mini course. All right. I'm going to go next. Primary text is going to be the text that's actually like the captions of your posts. That's essentially the same thing here. So I'll always use the hook, story, offer, framework here. So hook would be like, hey, are you struggling to sign clients? Hey, are you posting all day, but you're just not seeing the results you want? Story, me too. I used to be in your same shoes. Then I discovered how to use simple Instagram ads to sign 5-10 clients a month. Offer, download my free Instagram ads class or guide or course that's got over 6 hours of content so you can launch ads and scale them to sign 5 to 10 clients a month without relying on organic content, right? So that's kind of just an overview of like what that would look like. Again, I trust Facebook. So I'm going to give it, 3 different versions of primary text. And I'll probably do one more. Why? Because I want to make media buying easy. I don't want to be in my ad account every day and try to scale the little tiny performers. I have a business to run. I think you guys probably do too, right? Headline, that's going to be on Facebook only, like that big bar, right? So this would be for me, free mini course, this could be like $9.97, normally $9.97. Let's go free Instagram ads, mini course, right? And then I might do like how to get 5 to 10 clients a month, right? And maybe just leave it at that, right? So it could be like, here's the offer. The offer itself is a mini course, free training, same thing. And then another one could be how to get clients, or like, scale your business without the grind, free course, right? So I'm kind of like leading off with, some of these are benefit driven. Some of them are just, here's the offer, put 3 to 5 in there. Okay. And then description, this is like, I honestly really see this, but I'll just be like, the simple way to grow your business, right? Or to get more clients. Boom. All right. This is simple. Don't overthink it. Like the primary text matters the most, and so does the creative, but just give it more elements, right? Image generation, I'm not trusting that. Enhancements, turn them all off for the most part. I don't want more text on my thing that already has a lot of text. Visual touch-ups, no. Music, no. Text improvements, no. Because look at that. That looks ugly. It even shows you. I'm like, why would I want that? That looks ugly, right? Add site links, absolutely not. I just want them to click on my ad and go to my funnel. Image AI, no. Enhanced CTA. This is the only one that I will keep on. Everything else I will keep off. Boom, done. All right. And boom, that's what that's going to look like. And now with the ad creative, I can see all the stuff. I wish they did that the first time. Like I said, it looks ugly. And yep. Just gonna make sure, okay, only enhanced CTA is on, great. And then boom, that would be your first ad. Now I like in every ad set to launch like 3 ads. So I'm just gonna, let's go duplicate and we're gonna do 2. And then I would just make minor tweaks. So typically what I'll do with these is I will just put in a different image, right? So I'll keep the same exact copy, everything in there, everything else is the same, but then I will just change out the media to a different image, right? Super old one. No flexible media. Make sure all this is turned off. So that would be that. And I do the same for this one. Now, the cool part with this strategy, this is where it gets really fun, is if you do CBO campaigns. CBO just means if I have a budget of $100, I could load in like 3 to 5 different ad sets, and Facebook's going to find the one that's most likely to give me a qualified lead based off of what I set up over here on this pixel page. So what I've been doing is I've been going super broad, optimize for lead, go broad targeting, or a use advantage plus with a lookalike stack or an interest stack. But again, making it as broad as possible. And whenever it's time to launch new ads, all I do is I come in here and I copy the ad set, like the winning audience, right? So I would just be like, all right, cool. I want to do this again. I'm going to duplicate the audience that's currently winning. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to launch 3 new ads. Okay, 3 new ads. And then I would launch those. And I just keep doing that. And I used to not do that. I used to try to like launch ads at the ad set level, force spend to them, and I would just lose money. So what I've been doing now is I've been even launching like some of my best winners. So let me just show you this. So I launched this last week. You can see like some of these are doing pretty well. Let me open up Hyros to show this to you. Hyros is like a tracking software. So if you're spending over $5,000 a month, you need this because it'll show you not just your cost per lead, but it'll show you your cost per call. So again, this is a brand new funnel. I launched it last week. So you'll see acquisition cost is a little bit high, but we have a bunch of calls that are on the books. So this all should drop down, and I've killed some losers, as you can see. But what I'll do is I'll launch new ads inside of here. So like this makes things so easy. So instead of having like a testing ad set and a bunch of stuff, I have one CBO campaign. I'm optimizing for qualified leads. And when I need to test a new ad or a new thing, instead of me trying to figure out the audience and the ad, I just throw this into the CBO campaign. And Facebook is going to spin on the thing that it thinks is going to give me the best results. And typically it's going to do a good job if I'm giving the right signals back to it. Okay. So like for instance, I just launched this one this morning. It just started spending. So, and I threw it in the same campaigns are already winning. Now you might look at this and be like, Matt, this one's clearly outperforming. Why don't you just scale this thing? Well, I'm going to show you something cool. Man, I'm giving you guys all the secrets right now. If you guys are like not into media buying, you might be like, he's talking a lot, but like, this is cool. So what I have done for this one, because this one has delivered me 2 clients, and we actually have one more pitch out. So they should be coming in end of week. So this one's actually performing really well. What you can do is you can jump into the ad set level and you can set a daily minimum. So for this one, we can't guarantee this amount will be spent. Like it might spend more, but ideally it's going to spend at least 75. Because I don't want to like, okay, cool. We know this creative does book calls for us. So I want to make sure that this one does get a good amount of spend. Yesterday was at $50, so I bumped it to 75 and then blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do this. This is just me getting a little bit geeky and nerdy and trying to make sure that this one does get spend. Because again, this is kind of a newer strategy for me to throw all these ad sets into the same CBO campaign. But this is what I'm doing. And it makes my job easy because all I have from the campaign level, right, is one CBO campaign, and I have some retargeting ads. And then this has still got some winners in it from like past, where I try to force spend in specific audiences. But it's got some winners. That's why, this one's still on. You can see cost per qualified call has just been skyrocketing for us. So I've been turning some of these down and going more to the strategy that just simplifies it. So you have one CBO campaign, which just has the budget being spent on the different types of ads based off what Facebook thinks is going to perform the best. And then if it performs out of KPI, you just turn it off. So for me to do that, for this one in particular, like this one spent almost $1,300. My customer acquisition cost is around $2,000. So I needed this to get around $2,000 or so with all these calls booked and not have any sales before I turn it off. Some of these ones, they just weren't getting in like a good cost per qualified lead. Because again, we can also see that here on Facebook. So you can see like these ones were getting like $20 cost per leads. Some of these were getting more expensive. This one just wasn't booking any calls. The 2 calls that came through at $1,000 in spend weren't qualified. So I have a way of like shutting off, knowing when to shut off based off of spend and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing, guys. I hope this is helpful. If you guys want more support on this, if you're like looking at this like, Matt, I feel so lost. I get it. I was there too. I will drop my mini course, the full funnel that I just walked through right here. It'll be linked in the description below. So if you want to go through that, or if you guys want to learn how to run ads and you need help with this, you can just go through that funnel. You can apply and book a call with us in that funnel. But that's like the next step here is like, this stuff is complex. And even for me, I have an ads coach. I highly encourage you to find somebody you can work with who can help you with this stuff. Because if you can get this stuff right and you can send the data back to Facebook and make things really simple, easy, and clean, your life's going to be so much easier. You don't need to hire a media buyer. You should not hire a media buyer unless you're spending $50,000 a month plus in ads. Okay. We spend 30, 40K a month in ads. I manage it. Every time I've hired someone else to do it, they suck at it. Okay. And maybe it's just because I like this stuff. I'm geeky, I'm nerdy, but I firmly believe in most of the clients we work with, we teach them or their team members how to run ads so they don't have to spend 3 to 5K a month on having someone run their ads and do a mediocre job. Okay. You can learn this skill. It's easier than it sounds. And maybe that I made it look here. This is a really cool strategy, right? So give Facebook more data. Okay. Give it better data. Let it do the hard stuff for you. All right. That's all I got for today, guys. Grab that mini course below and I'll see you guys next time.